Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Tenders and Entrepreneurship Guide. My name is Beatrice Mentor. In this YouTube channel, we discuss A to Z of tenders and tendering in Kenya, and we also look at various business opportunities and ideas that are found within or without our government. Welcome back. In our last video, we spoke about introduction to tendering, whereby I talked about the 5 Ws of tenders and tendering. That is the who, that is the which, that is the when, that is the what, and that is the where, and then about 1H, that is how. So I talked about introduction to tendering. I talked about who can access tenders, either under the open or under the ALPO category, and I gave hints, and I believe that you were able to follow, and I believe that you were able to do what we spoke about, and I know that as we move this journey each step at a time, we are definitely gonna get somewhere. Welcome, and let's get learning. So in our today's video, we are going to discuss each and every of the company types that can enable you access to tenders and tendering. And then in each of those companies, we're going to look at the documents that are mandatory, that are required in order for you to be able to access these tenders. Keep watching. So the first company that we spoke about is what most people refer to as business name. I don't know why people who have business names, or rather who've registered business name, think or rather have a mentality that that is not a company. But I am here to assure you that a sole proprietorship, that is what we call a business name, is a totally recognized company in Kenya by the registrar of companies, and with a sole proprietorship, just you, yourself, and I, you can access these tenders. But what else do you require as a sole proprietor? First of all, is that you require the business registration certificate. And like I said in my previous video, this business registration certificate comes at only 950 Kenya shillings. Just imagine, less than 1,000, and you have a company for yourself. So this is simply what you do. You register your own eCitizen account. You just log into eCitizen portal, and wow, you're there to go. You're good to go. So when you have your own eCitizen account, you can now log in under company registration, and there you go. You can register your own sole proprietorship. Of course, the system will guide you each and every step of the way. Of late, you're required to give 5 names in order of your priorities. So once you give the 5 names, the system will be able to select for you a name that is not in use, a name that nobody else is using in this country. So the first thing you require is a business registration certificate that you register online or on your eCitizen account. So the second thing, or rather document, that is mandatory that you require in order for you to access tenders and tendering as a sole proprietor is your PIN certificate. So when you're a sole proprietor, you simply use you just use your PIN. So we all have our PINs, KRA PINs, the ones that we register once we attain the age of 18. So immediately you got to 18, you ought to have registered your own PIN. So in order for you to access tendering under ALPO category or even under the open category, you require your own personal PIN. So the next document that you require as a sole proprietor is a tax compliance certificate. So a tax compliance certificate is just a clearance certificate by KRA that shows that you don't owe anything, you don't owe the government, that you have been filing your returns. We know that we file our income returns once, we remit once a year. So in case you've not been remitting, it may be hard for you to get a tax compliance certificate, but you will just simply go to your nearest KRA offices and go and share maybe your issue with them, why maybe you were not able to remit your returns and you accrued a penalty. So of course you will, there's several ways of dealing with it. They can either ask you to pay the whole amount, they can ask you to pay in bits, whereby you can still access the tax compliance certificate even as you continue paying, and in some instances you can even get a waiver. So once you apply for a tax compliance certificate, which is normally applied online on iTax portal, and it's not going through, you need to visit KRA. But in case you have no penalties or anything that is going to hinder you, you will just simply apply online on iTax portal, and within a few working days, you're going to have your own tax compliance certificate that is just in your name because you're a sole proprietor. So we've talked about a business registration certificate, we have talked about your KRA PIN, we have talked about a tax compliance certificate, and finally, if you're a woman, you're a youth, or you're a person living with a disability, you need AGPO certificate. So AGPO means access to government procurement opportunities, and we know that we access 30% of tendering opportunities with all the government institutions, both at county and national level, under AGPO category. If you're a woman, you're a youth, and you're a person living with disability. So the last document that you require to have is an AGPO certificate. AGPO certificate comes free of charge, and you just apply it on AGPO portal. You just Google AGPO portal, and you will be guided how you're going to apply for the AGPO certificate. So after you apply successfully, you're required to go to your nearest Huduma Center for approval. So just don't apply your AGPO certificate and sit at home and wait for the certificate. So just go to your nearest Huduma Center, wherever you are. It's going to be approved, and then it's going to be uploaded on their portal, whereby you can just download and print and continue use. So we've talked about the sole proprietorship. Those are just the only 4 mandatory documents that you must have. You cannot now go to the next step if you don't have those 4 documents when you're a sole proprietor. Of course, there are other requirements that we're going to see later on in our trainings, but as for now, I am talking about the mandatory, the documents that you must have in order for you to access tenders under either AGPO category or either under the open category. So the second type of company is partnership. So partnership type of company is more or less like a sole proprietor, because you just acquire a business registration certificate at just 950 Kenya shillings. But then when it comes to partnerships means that you're partnering with someone or with other people. Partnership requires between 2 to 20 persons. So if you're 2, you're 3, you're 4, you're 10, you're 20, and you would like to get into the tendering business together, you'll just simply come up with a name. So when you come up with a name, you're going to register now the business, but as partnership. Before I forget, the requirement for registering even a sole proprietorship, even a business name, is your KRA PIN, a passport size photo, and a copy of your ID. So when you're doing a partnership, simply each and every one of you will have to give out their passport size photo, their IDs, and their KRA PINs. Then you're going to use the same process on eCitizen account. Of course, you can choose to use someone's or any of your partners. You can decide who you're going to use, whose eCitizen account you're going to use, and the process is the same. You're going to give 5 names in order of your priority, such that they will either give you number 1. If number 1 is taken by somebody else or it is weak, you're going to get number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So you just give 5 names. You will follow the same process as your proprietorship. You will pay 950 Kenya shillings, even if you're 10, even if you're 15. That is just that. Then the business registration certificate is going to be out within a few working days. So the process is just the same. So the next requirement, rather the next document that you still require as partners is all of you got your personal pins, KRA pins, but then you cannot use your pins because now you've joined, you're 5, you're 6, so you cannot use anyone's pin. So what you do, a combination of your KRA pins, each of you becomes a company pin. So KRA will give you what is called a company pin that now comes in the name of the registered company or in the registered business. Let's say, for example, you're calling yourself ABCD Investment. So the company pin will come under the name of ABCD Investment. So it's not gonna come in anyone's name. I hope we get together. So the next requirement, rather the next document that is mandatory when you're doing a partnership is again a tax compliance certificate. This one can become a little bit tricky because let's say you're partnering 6 people and let's say maybe 3 are okay, they are clean, they don't have any arrears or any penalties with KRA, and let's say maybe the rest 3 have issues. So you cannot get the certificate, the tax compliance certificate, without each and every one of you having been cleared by KRA. So what you do is that you check. If all of you are clean, it is okay. If some of you are not, again, you settle it down with KRA. I said you can apply for a waiver. I said you can go and negotiate for installment payments. You can just go there and deal with it. So again, the tax compliance certificate, as I have said, will come in the name of the company. So that is ABCD Investment. Next, you need a very important document that is called the partnership deed. Remember, the 4 or the 5 or the 10 of you sat down and decided that you're going to have a partnership company, but that was as far as you 3, you 4, you 5 discussed. So how about the government? So how is the government sure that the 4 or the 5 of you have registered a company together? So that's when you require to have a document called a partnership deed. So a partnership deed is drawn and signed by a lawyer and of course all of you. And it has clear information about who you are, how you've agreed to register a company, how you're going to share, how you're going to share the company, as in you're the shareholders, all of you. So what percentages do you each own the company? So a partnership deed is a must. It is compulsory. It is drawn by a lawyer, and all of you, including the lawyer, signs and it gets stamped. A partnership deed is a legal document that can be used in court of law. So if you sit down 2, 3, 4, 5 people and decide that you're going to do a partnership, please remember to have that very important document. Let each and every one of you keep a copy in case of a rainy day. Then the last but not least is the AGPO certificate. If all of you are in the same category, that is maybe you youths, all of you, or maybe you persons with disabilities, or maybe you women, so you can have AGPO certificate under the women or youth or PWD category. But supposing some of you are not in the AGPO category, so this is where the shareholding comes in. The laws, the AGPO laws requires that the person who is in the AGPO category be the majority shareholder. So the person with the let me give an example. I am a parent. I am, of course, not a youth, and maybe I want to partner with my son or my daughter who is above 18 years old. The law requires that my daughter or my son be the majority shareholder by at least 70%. So the person under the AGPO category will have 70%, then the rest can share the 30%. So that is simply how it goes. Last but not least, we have the limited company. So this is the incorporated company. Comes up to a figure of about 10,600, but or thereof, it can go higher depending on who is helping you register it for you. It can be owned by one person. That's who we call a sole director, or again, it can be owned by several shareholders and directors. The rules of the game are the same as for partnership. The person under the AGCO category, if you're going to tender under the the AGCO category, or rather the reserved or the special group, must be the majority shareholder. Then again, you require a company P, same process as partnership. Then you require a tax compliance certificate in the name of the company. You require the AGCO certificate, again in the name of the company, same processes, same systems, same application process, but then in limited company, we have a document that is called CR12. That is the confirmation of directors and shareholders. So again, the CR12 gives detailed information about who are the owners of this limited company, how many shares does each and every one of you have. So it's also a legal document that is that comes directly from the Register of Companies, and that document is very important. So you cannot go anywhere in tendering without the documents that we mentioned. We say the company, we say the PIN, whether company, I mean company PIN or personal if you're a sole proprietor. We talked about a partnership deed, we talked about the AGCO certificate, we talked about the CR12, we talked about everything. So those are the mandatory documents that allows you access to tenders and tendering, either under the open category or either under the AGCO category. Thank you so much for having me. I'm gonna end this broadcast here, but this is not the final. In our next video, we are gonna talk about other requirements. Remember, we've talked about mandatory documents, but then we do have other requirements that comes along when you want to access tenders in this country. Thank you so much for having me. The pleasure is mine, all mine. See you in my next video. God bless.